Okay, so I'm back up at the cabin, and working on the bathroom again. I think I showed it to you last. So I want to get started on I think they call it the flats. So if you look at this here, it has a dent in it where the joints are in the drywall. And if you try to do the corners, right, where that dent's in, if you try to do this corner, your corner is obviously going to go into that spot. So you want to get that done first. So you want to make sure that from where this is straight across here. So I'm just, I mean, there's a lot better guys than me at this that you can watch on video. I'm just kind of showing that this is what I'm doing. And then I have one more spot on the ceiling to do. And prepping is really important. You should always make sure, like I went through here, I had some paper sticking up, I had screws sticking kind of proud. So I made sure I cleaned all that up. Now that you start taping, and then you have to go back and start messing around with it. So here's my tape. This is a fiberglass tape that my daughter Nina swears by. So this is what I grabbed. Usually I tend to be old school about stuff and don't always, do everything modern. But if you look at it, this being a bathroom, just having something like this in there rather than paper is probably a good idea. Except the edges are sharp. Wow. So, you didn't see me do the end, but I just take this, hold it on the end, and then just rip the tape off. So now, and like I said, there's probably a lot of people better at this than me. I kind of push this part in so that my tape has a good start. And then I take my 1.5-inch blade or 2-inch blade, whatever this is, and I run it here. And you got to squeeze out all the excess mud. And you got to get mud squeezing out, because if you don't get mud squeezing out, that means you haven't. There's a bit of tape, which isn't good because it probably ripped off from somewhere. Up there. Yeah. I mean, you don't squeeze it too hard, but you want to make sure that nothing stands proud, so nothing sticks out further. Otherwise you're going along and you're scraping it off afterwards, and that's probably one of the most important things about doing drywall. It's just making sure that you're not making a big mess and thinking, oh, I'll just sand it out after. You're better off to make sure. Now, normally if I'm doing drywall and tapers, also will put their mud in a pail. This is just right out of the pail. And they'll dampen it a bit, mix it up good, so it flows a little bit easier, so it's easier to squeeze out from the paper. But I only have a little bit to do here, so it's not really worth me doing that. Okay, so I make sure that's in there and no bubbles. And I take my 4-inch. And you probably didn't see that last part because the camera wasn't faced. But I take the 4-inch and go along Just make sure it's nice and clean. And then I'll let this dry. You can put 2 coats on right away. But then it just takes longer for the other coat to dry. I think it kind of works a little bit better if you just go along like that and just let it. So let that dry. It's gonna probably be a while because there's we just got up here. We had yesterday afternoon, so we had the fire going. So there's a lot of humidity in here still. So till that gets out of the air. So you just have a seam to do on the ceiling, and that's not going to be fun, but it's got to be done. And then after that, I'll be putting in the plumbing in the tub wall, just like here. Get the camera to go down. That's where the tub is. I've got kind of the faucet laid out there. It's a different faucet than I'm used to, so I have to go back to faucet school. I have to look at their instructions they weren't very good. But then again, I'm improvising something, so it sits in there really solid. Yeah, so I'll get that in today. I don't know if I'm going to plumb it yet or not. I'll get that in today, and then I can get the cement board up. And I'll probably, even though you don't have to on the shower walls there and in the seams, I don't know. I'll see. You don't have to actually put anything in there. Maybe I won't. If anything, you could use Durabond 90, but I don't know. The back wall of this is drywall, so we have to use a waterproofing thing on the back. And that was necessary just because we're using 2-foot centers, so it's really difficult to. So there was nothing really to nail the cement board onto or screw it onto that was, it goes right up to the window. We didn't want to tile right up to the window, so we're going to tile up to this point here where that drywall ends, and then probably do the bottom half along the bottom and then around the top of the sink that I made. Just got to finish the cabinet there, like the underneath part, and then hook up the water and have a nice cold shower because the water in the basement still had ice on it. Okay, that's it for now. Frustrated this morning. I have lots of data now, so I'm sitting here having my coffee after breakfast and reading a CBC article about what to do with old car batteries. And I think anyone that's had any dealings with off-grid housing know what the best thing to do with them. They're talking about the batteries last 10 years, and then after that, you have to mine it. So let's recycle them. In 10 years from now, lithium batteries are going to be so outdated. They're going to be like those little transistors, radios that we used to walk around with when I was a kid. So the idea of looking at them that way just doesn't make any sense. When I wrote them a little letter, and I know they're not going to answer, and they're not going to pay attention to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm a ghost. Sometimes I feel like I got my glasses on. Sometimes I feel like when I ended up in the hospital the one night, I actually did die, and I'm walking around as a ghost and no one listens to me. Very frustrated. I've written CBC News a few times, and it's just the best use for old car batteries. Once car batteries reach 80% of their power, right? They've dropped 20%. They're no good in cars anymore because you can't travel very far anymore. So you have to go and put a fresh battery in there. But lithium iron phosphate or lithium ion battery that has 80% in it is fantastic for an off-grid home. Or even if you wanted to use it as a backup system, like up north in a lot of places, they have big power outages, and so they buy generators, and that's putting carbon into the atmosphere. Or you could buy these old used batteries and use them for another 10 years in a place like this. And I know nothing's going to happen, and it's very frustrating. It's so easy to take these, private people are already doing it. Um, they could have companies set up to just take the batteries, refurbish them up to 48 volts so you could connect them to your own. Really, nothing has to be done. The batteries themselves are fine. They just have to be set to the right voltage so you have 120 volts alternating current coming out of them. Easy peasy. It's an easy fix. And here they are talking about going to the huge carbon footprint of tearing these batteries apart and putting them back together to make to get the minerals out of them when they can be using them for off-grid housing. I don't know. Sometimes I get very frustrated at the. I don't know. I gotta watch what I say here. Anyways, yeah, I wish I could have gotten. I had looked at a few used car batteries. They were fairly expensive. They weren't set up quite properly. Like for me, for the inverter, I need 48 volts DC. The battery packs I have will give me that. I ended up having to buy them, and buying car batteries would have been much cheaper and much greener. Like it would so much better for the environment if you just take. I could use a battery like that in here for 10 years, easy, and then it could be recycled if there was anything left. That if people were still using the minerals and metals that were in those batteries. So anyways, I'm gonna get set up and I'm gonna connect the water, and hopefully, because I want to do it because I want to make sure I don't have any leaks. Well, it's easier to fix. Okay, I'll come back when I get set up. Okay, got my camera going in the right direction. So, put in this nightmare of a faucet. It's a nice looking faucet from Amazon, but it's just the way it works or the way you attach it. It's just kind of not used to it. So I put the cement board in here. There's the shower spout. There's the back wall. Trying to drywall the corners up there, and the problem that we have in this bathroom now is, we have running water and everything. So I've just got preliminary coats on there. And it's that bathroom is really isolated now. So this is one of the things that I wanted to maybe work on yet today, is just hook up the cold water to the cold water faucet. This was just a real nightmare hooking this thing up, like these copper things, and then I added all these extra things up to the shower. The wonders of PEX piping. I can get this one off. Okay. Connector for this pipe. Well, I'm just going to do this fairly basic now. I'm going to go supply line.
best way for me to do this. Okay. Sure that's in all the way. Okay. So I got my supply line going here. I will need my return line going back. Issue? No. Be nice if I had an extra hand. But God only gave me two. Wow, that is hard to do. There's plumbers probably have tricks for this. I don't. Make sure I get this thing in the right spot. Okay, well it's kind of started, so. Okay. I don't know if I should have made that permanent. kind of late now, isn't it? I was thinking about going, this one here would go off, down into the one has to go up to the water heater. The water heater kind of would have been better to put it in the bathroom. Maybe I've kept it warmer because the bathroom was cold. We're going to have to do something about that. If the water heater was it, then the water heater would help heat the bathroom up. Like right now through that hole, I'm getting so much cold air. I don't know if I should have done this permanent. I got a fair bit of. So I tend to find this to be a little. I don't know. Yeah. In some ways it's easier, but in some ways it's not. Okay. There's that. Temporary connector here. Yeah, there really is a lot of cold air. That's why it's always cool here in the morning. In June and July, it'll be kind of not so bad because it keeps the place. See, look how this stuff does not like to cooperate. So, temporary connector here. And that broke. And there's my little Bruni, even though it's windy and horrible outside. She's all ready. Let's go outside. Let's go and play. Yeah, I'm having trouble with it. My camera doesn't seem to be switching back to front. I'm gonna try and do that, and that's about it for today. All the in the bathroom, I did the corners yesterday, and because the room's so isolated, it's cooler in there, and there's no air movement because they don't have the electricity for fans and stuff like that, like in a normal house. So when I tried to do the other parts of the corner, the mud that was in there yesterday was still soft. It was kind of making a mess. I managed to get some on there, but it's obviously going to have to wait for a couple of days till I'm back again. That's about all the progress here, other than I pulled some trees out of the bush. You know, I'll go over to the window. Hopefully my camera swings around to the front. You can see it from here. Take a trip outside. Bruni will be very happy about that. It's cold and windy. Got my ATV working. Then I had a problem with a winch, but I fixed that. So. Wow, is it ever windy? I pulled those out of there, out of the swamp in there. Okay, I think what did you do with your toy? Huh? Where'd you put your toy? You left it up here. Okay, so today I've been raking this out. There was water at the edges. There's still some right here. If I rake it even enough, like this is a big hole in here, if I rake it even enough, the water will channel away and it'll stop being squishy. I'm going to try and keep it as level as possible. So we'll set the bandsaw up here. Logs will roll in from this side here where I've got these logs out already. I actually have quite a bit to start working on, to start cutting on. So these logs, that's the little layer there, or the sandy part that I'm gonna put some cement, I don't know, blocks or something like that, and then that'll be where I'll be drying the wood. I still have a few logs to pull out, and I guess I got to help Bruni find her stupid ball. You dummy. Yeah, so here's another. Yeah, so there's still little bits of water here and there that. Oh, it's tough shoveling and raking at my age, but I've got it a lot more level. Once that's level, the water can run away and packs down nicely. It should be solid enough for me to set the bandsaw up, and then we can start getting to cut wood. So there was a question. There's Bruni on hey, I'm going to put that in the cooler. If I should your hind end's falling through the hole. There was a question whether I was going to go and start the fridge in the trailer with the propane, but it's going to get cold again. Look at all the ice still here. It's about 18 degrees out right now. So I'm going to chop a chunk of this ice and stick it in the cooler, and that should be okay, because Wednesday night it's going to be -8 overnight. Haha. April macht was es will. That's a German saying that says April does what it wants to. So you can never know what's going to happen in April.
Can we, Bruni? She lost her toy today. I don't know what she was doing. We were playing, and then she's kind of looking at me from different spots like she's, I don't know, being a pain in the behind. And then look at her, she's sitting in the muck. You go swimming already? Huh? Yeah, she went in for a drink. All right, let's chop a chunk of ice and go and stick it in the cooler, and then we'll be time for lunch.